A poor receptionist is fired for bringing her son to work. Until one day, a millionaire CEO did something that shocked everyone. Before we begin this story, tell us in the comments, which city are you watching from? And at the end, don't forget to rate this story from 0 to 10. Enjoy the story. Luna walked through the doors of Parker Corporation, holding Leo's hand, her heart racing and a knot in her stomach growing stronger with every step. She knew bringing her son to work was completely against the rules, she knew. But that day, she had no choice. She pressed her badge to her chest, looked around, and when she didn't see anyone watching, she quickly pulled Leo behind the reception desk. "Stay right here, okay? Quiet, hidden, just play," she whispered, tucking his little backpack into the corner. "And for heaven's sake, don't touch anything, Leo." Leo nodded, swinging his legs as he pulled out his notebook and colored pencils. The plan seemed to work for exactly 2 minutes, until the phone rang. "Parker Corporation, good morning," she answered automatically, adjusting the headset. "Luna, transfer this call to the 8th floor, now," barked Director Peterson's sharp voice. "Yes, sir," she replied, reaching for the transfer panel. That's when she noticed a tiny curious finger moving straight toward a flashing red button. "No, Leo, don't touch that. Don't." But it was too late. The loudspeaker came on with a sharp buzz, echoing through the entire lobby. And then, the next second, "I already said, if that contract doesn't close today, I'm firing half the marketing team." The director's voice boomed, live, loud, and clear for everyone to hear. "Oh no, no, no." Luna practically dove onto the panel, hitting every button she could find, her fingers trembling, palms sweaty, almost yanking the phone cable out. "Turn it off? Please turn it off." People froze. The security guard stood with his coffee halfway to his mouth. An HR rep dropped her paperwork. The whole lobby turned into an audience. "Oh no." Luna yanked the phone cable so hard she nearly took the monitor with it. The sound finally stopped. She was gasping for air, shaking, pale, hands in her hair, staring at Leo with wide eyes, stunned, unable to believe what had just happened. And then, the most dreaded sound in the universe filled the air. "What is going on here?" Ashley's sharp voice sliced through the entire lobby. Luna's blood ran cold. She turned slowly, and there stood Ashley, the reception manager, wearing a flawless white blazer, her high heels clicking like a judge's gavel, hair pulled back in a bun so tight it looked like it hurt. Ashley's eyes went wide when she saw Leo sitting there with a notebook in his hands, holding a colored pencil. What is this ridiculous child doing here? The word ridiculous hit Luna in the chest like a punch. Don't talk about him like that," she said, stepping in front of her son immediately. Ashley marched closer, crossed her arms, and exploded. "This is not a daycare, Luna. This isn't a playground. This is a company, you irresponsible woman. Do you have any idea what you just did? How many rules you broke?" I swear it was an accident," Luna tried to explain, her voice shaking, shielding Leo behind her legs. "Accident?" Ashley scoffed, laughing mockingly. "That little brat hit a button and almost ruined one of our biggest contracts." That's when Luna lifted her chin, eyes teary but firm. "It wasn't him," she said, voice trembling but determined. "It was me. My hand slipped and hit the button. It was my fault, and if someone needs to be blamed here, it's me." Ashley's eyes widened. "That's a flat-out lie. I saw him press it. Everyone saw." "And he's just a child." Luna snapped, holding back tears, but now with a fire burning in her chest. "He's not the problem, Ashley. I am. And if you want to fire me, fine, but don't you ever raise your voice at him again, ever." The entire lobby went silent. People froze at the elevators, others pretended to look at their phones, even the coffee machine seemed to stop working. Ashley crossed her arms, took a deep breath, squinted, and then, dramatically, ripped Luna's badge from her chest. "Perfect. You are officially fired, and I want you out. Now." Luna's chest sank, her knees went weak. She gripped Leo tighter, took a deep breath so she wouldn't collapse right there. She looked around, hoping for any trace of empathy, of support, but all she saw were turned faces, people pretending not to notice. She squeezed her son's hand, swallowed hard, and lifted her chin. "Come on, Leo," she said, holding on to the little dignity she had left. "We don't need this place." The automatic doors opened, and at that exact moment, as if the universe had just been waiting, the rain poured down. Leo looked up and said, with that honesty only a child has, "Mom, I think the sky is crying with us. Luna closed her eyes, took a deep breath, and forced a smile, holding back her tears. No, sweetheart, she answered, swallowing the lump in her throat. The sky is just trying to see if we know how to swim. What she didn't know was that the storm wasn't an ending. It was just the beginning. Cold rain hit Luna's face like tiny needles as she walked out of Parker Corporation with Leo in her arms. The 5-year-old felt heavier than she remembered, but her arms were trembling more from nerves than from tiredness. "Mommy, why are you walking so fast?" Leo asked, holding tightly around her neck as she hurried down the wet sidewalk. "We're just heading home, sweetheart." That wasn't true. Luna had no idea where she was going. Her thoughts were spinning in desperate circles as rain ran down her hair, stuck to her forehead, and blurred her vision. Fired. I've been fired. The words repeated in her head like a broken record. 6 months working at that reception desk. 6 months arriving on time, smiling at grumpy clients, organizing schedules for people who barely knew her name. And now... "Hey, Mommy," Leo said loudly enough for a few people nearby to hear. "Is that mean lady still in there with that feather duster hair?" A woman with a red umbrella walking past gave a quiet chuckle. "Leo, lower your voice." Luna whispered, but she couldn't hide a small smile at the corner of her mouth. "But it's true," Leo insisted, waving his little hands. It looked like she stuck her finger in the outlet and her hair went like poof. He made a big explosion gesture that made a young man waiting for the bus laugh out loud. "Leo." Luna tried to sound serious, but her son's innocence was impossible to resist. "And she talked like this, blah blah blah." Leo mimicked Ashley's high-pitched voice with an exaggerated face, which made even a man in a suit laugh. For a moment, Luna almost forgot about the situation. Almost, until reality hit again like a cold slap. The rent. $800 due next week. Luna did the math in her head. Exactly $215 in her bank account. Her credit card had been maxed out for 2 weeks, and now no job. "Mommy, are you okay?" Leo touched her face with his little wet hand. "You look sad again." No. Mommy's just thinking about how we're going to survive." Leo's school cost $300 a month. Her car payment was $180. Health insurance, $250. Food, electricity, water, gas. Luna felt a tightness in her chest that almost made her stop walking. How am I going to find another job fast enough? The rain was getting heavier, turning into a real downpour. Luna looked around, trying to find somewhere to stay dry. Her clothes were soaked through, and Leo was starting to shiver in her arms. "Mommy, I'm getting wet." "I know, sweetheart. Let's find a place to wait for the rain to stop." She spotted a red and white striped awning across the street. A food truck. The smell of hamburgers and French fries floated in the air, mixed with the scent of rain on hot pavement. Luna crossed the street almost running, dodging puddles. By the time she got under the awning, she was out of breath and completely soaked. "Wow." Leo shook his head, sending little drops of water everywhere. "Now we're like 2 little fish out of the tank." Luna set Leo down and started trying to dry him with her own wet shirt. It didn't help. Her hands were shaking. She couldn't tell if it was from the cold or from the growing panic inside her. That's when she heard fast footsteps approaching. A tall man, wearing a dark suit soaked through, ran to take cover under the same awning. "Wow, what a storm," the man said, brushing his wet hair back. Luna glanced at him quickly. He looked sharp, probably in his mid-30s, and even with his suit wet, it still looked expensive. Most likely some corporate executive. "Hi." Leo waved cheerfully at the stranger. "Did you turn into a little fish in the rain too?" The man smiled, surprised by the boy's friendliness. "I think I did. And what about you?" "Me and Mommy are runaway fish," Leo replied, excited. "We ran away from that big building over there." "Leo," Luna murmured, embarrassed. "Why does your hair look like a wet dog?" Leo asked, with the pure honesty only a 5-year-old has. The man laughed, a warm, genuine laugh. "You've got a good eye. I probably do look like a soaked stray dog right now. Yes, just like Rex, our neighbor's dog when he gets a bath." Luna felt embarrassed, but the man seemed genuinely amused by Leo. "And what's your name, young man?" "Leo, and this is my mommy, Luna. She's the best mommy in the world. Nice to meet you, Leo. Nice to meet you, Luna." The man held out his hand. "I'm Ethan." "Nice to meet you," Luna answered softly, shaking his hand. Do you work around here? Ethan asked, trying to keep the conversation going. Leo answered before Luna had a chance to say anything. Mommy used to work in that building right there, but today a mean lady with feather duster hair fired her. Luna's face turned red with embarrassment. Leo, you don't have to say that. Oh, Ethan looked at her with a curious expression. Trouble at work? Luna hesitated. There was something kind in his voice, no judgment. Well, I used to work there. I got let go today. What Luna didn't know was that Ethan Parker was the millionaire CEO of Parker Corporation, the same company that had just fired her, and neither of them had any idea that the storm that had brought them under that awning would change both of their lives forever. Ethan Parker arrived at the office the next morning with a strange feeling in his chest. All night long, he couldn't stop thinking about that conversation under the food truck's awning. Leo's honesty, Luna's quiet strength, the way she said, I got let go today, with both sadness and dignity, it had stayed with him. He went straight up to the 30th floor where his executive office was. His assistant, Margaret, was already waiting with the day's schedule and a pile of reports. Good morning, Mr. Parker. You have a board meeting at 9 then? Margaret, Ethan interrupted, taking off the same wet jacket from the day before. Was anyone let go from the company yesterday? Margaret blinked, surprised by the unexpected question. Well, let me check. She tapped quickly on her tablet. Yes, sir. A receptionist from the 12th floor was let go yesterday afternoon. Ethan's stomach dropped. What? What's her name? Luna Parker, sir. Kind of ironic, same last name as yours. Luna Parker. Ethan felt like he'd been punched. That kind woman he met in the rain, the loving mother of that sweet little boy, worked at his company, and she had been fired. Who approved the termination? Ashley Morrison, the 12th floor manager. Ethan knew Ashley, a capable woman but known for being strict, sometimes harsh, with her team. He had always overlooked it because she delivered results. But now, Margaret, cancel all my morning meetings. I need to go down to the 12th floor. But sir, the board can wait. This is more important. Ethan took the elevator down, his jaw tight. The more he thought about it, the more upset he became. Luna had told him she brought her son because she had no other choice. Anyone with a heart would understand that a single mother sometimes faces impossible situations. The elevator doors opened on the 12th floor. Ethan walked straight to the front desk, where a temporary receptionist was answering the phone with a bored look on her face. Where's Ashley Morrison? In her office, sir, but she's in a meeting. Ethan didn't stop. He knocked once on the glass door and walked in without waiting. Ethan! Ashley stood up quickly, clearly surprised. What a nice surprise, I was just reviewing the reports. Sit down, Ashley. His tone made Ashley swallow hard. She slowly sat back down, trying to read his serious expression. I want you to explain exactly why Luna Parker was let go yesterday. Ashley blinked. Luna Parker? The receptionist? Well, she committed a serious violation of company policy. She brought a child to work and caused an incident that... What incident? The child pressed the speakerphone button during an important call and exposed confidential information to the entire office. It was extremely embarrassing and why did she bring the child? Ashley hesitated. Well, she said the babysitter didn't show up, but that's not a reason to. Not a reason? Ethan leaned forward. Ashley, do you have children? No, but then maybe you don't understand the impossible situation a single mother can be in. Luna had two choices, miss work or bring her child. She chose responsibility and came in. But the rules are clear. We don't allow children at the workplace. Rules are meant to serve people, Ashley, not the other way around. Ethan stood up. I want to see her personnel file. Now. Ashley nervously typed on the computer and turned the screen toward Ethan. What he saw made him even angrier. Luna Parker, 6 months at the company. 0 absences, 0 tardiness. Performance reviews. Excellent, excellent, excellent. Ethan scrolled down, reading the comments from her previous supervisors. Dedicated and responsible employee. Always polite with clients, even the difficult ones. Extremely reliable and well-organized. Clients often praise her service. Ashley, Ethan said slowly, trying to stay calm. You fired an outstanding employee, a mother trying to balance work and parenting. Someone who never caused any problems until yesterday. But she broke. She made a human mistake in an impossible situation. Ethan slammed his hand on the table, and instead of showing any understanding, you humiliated her in front of everyone. Ashley turned pale. I was just following protocol. Protocol? Ethan gave a dry laugh. Do you know what our most important protocol is, Ashley? Treating our employees like human beings. Ethan started pacing the room, thinking fast. Margaret told me several clients already called asking for Luna. Apparently, she was very well liked, an employee with perfect attendance, glowing reviews, and great customer relations. And you fired her over an accident. It was more than just an accident. No, it was exactly an accident. Ethan turned to face her. A 5-year-old pushed a button. It happens, and instead of handling it with maturity, you turned it into a public scene. Ashley swallowed hard, clearly realizing she'd made a serious mistake. Ethan, maybe we can reconsider? No, Ashley, I'll reconsider. You've lost the right to make decisions about Luna Parker. Ethan picked up the internal phone. Margaret, I need you to locate Luna Parker right away. Phone, address, any contact info we have. It's urgent. He hung up and looked at Ashley with an expression she had never seen before. Ashley, let me be clear. Luna Parker is coming back to this company, today, and if you have a problem with that, maybe you're the one who should start looking for another job. But she broke the rules. And you broke something much more important. Trust. A good manager protects their team, not kicks them when they're down. The phone rang. Ethan answered. Sir? I found Luna Parker's phone number, and her address too. Perfect. Margaret, I want you to prepare a reinstatement contract. Same salary, but add a special clause. In case of family emergencies, employees may bring their children to work, as long as it doesn't interfere with operations. Yes, sir. Anything else? Yes. I want you to find a room on the 12th floor and turn it into a temporary kids' space. Toys, books, drawing supplies for emergency use. Ethan hung up and headed to the door. Where are you going? Ashley asked, still stunned. To fix a mistake, one that never should have happened. Ethan paused at the door and turned back one last time. Ashley, Luna Parker is an excellent employee who is going through a tough moment. Instead of offering support, you chose to shame her. That says a lot about what kind of leader you are. I suggest you think about that. As he waited for the elevator, Ethan felt a determination he hadn't felt in a long time. This wasn't just about fixing an injustice. It was about doing the right thing. And deep down, he knew he wanted to see Luna and Leo again. He wanted to see that genuine smile, hear the little boy's curious questions, feel that rare lightness he had experienced under the food truck awning. The next morning, Luna woke up with a knot in her stomach that had started to feel permanent. At 3 a.m, she was still browsing job websites on her old laptop, which kept freezing every 5 minutes. The options were discouraging. Receptionist with at least 2 years experience, retail associate available on weekends, call center work that barely covered rent. Mommy, why are you up so early? Leo stood in the bedroom doorway, still in his pajamas, rubbing his eyes. I was just looking some things up, sweetheart. Looking up how we won't end up on the street. Luna closed the laptop and forced a smile. How about we have some breakfast? As she was making toast with the last of the jam in the fridge, the phone rang. Hello? Luna? This is Carla from the temp agency. I've got a short gig for today if you're interested. Luna felt a wave of relief. Absolutely. What is it? Window cleaning at a cafe downtown. 8 hours, $80. It's not much, but I'll take it, Luna answered before Carla could finish. 2 hours later, Luna was standing in front of Seattle's best coffee, a charming little cafe with huge windows that definitely needed cleaning. The uniform from the agency was twice her size, making her look like a kid wearing adult clothes. At least it's clean, she muttered to herself, tying her hair back in a ponytail. The cafe manager, a short man with a mustache, gave quick instructions. Windows inside and out. Cleaning supplies are over there. I need it done by 5. Luna grabbed the spray bottle and squeegee, took a deep breath, and started. It wasn't exactly her dream job, but $80 meant food on the table for a few days. She was halfway through the second window when she heard a familiar voice from the other side of the glass. Excuse me, but, Luna? She almost dropped the spray bottle. Inside the cafe, looking at her with total surprise, was Ethan. The same well-dressed man from the food truck. now in a sharp navy blue suit, holding a cup of coffee. Luna felt her face flush. There she was, dressed like a scarecrow, cleaning windows, and who shows up? The only man who'd been kind to her lately. "Hi," she said through the glass, giving an awkward wave with her gloved hand. Ethan stepped out of the cafe and walked up to her on the sidewalk. "What are you doing here?" "Working," Luna replied, trying to sound casual as she kept spraying the glass. "Cleaning windows?" "It's honest work," she said, a little defensive. Ethan looked at her for a moment, as if processing what he was seeing. "Luna, I need to talk to you." "I'm kind of busy right now." She kept scrubbing the glass, avoiding eye contact. "It's about your old job." Luna paused. "My old job? You were let go from Parker Corporation, right?" "Yes. So?" Ethan ran his hand through his hair, clearly nervous. "Luna, I'm Ethan Parker, owner of Parker Corporation." The squeegee slipped from Luna's hand and hit the ground with a soft thud. "You're—" "What?" "The CEO of the company you worked for. And I'm here to offer your job back." Luna blinked several times, like she was trying to solve a math problem that didn't make sense. "This some kind of joke?" "It's not a joke. I looked into what happened. Ashley Morrison had no right to fire you. You were an excellent employee." Luna let out a bitter laugh. "Excellent? I caused a huge scene. You made a human mistake in a tough situation. Any mother would have done the same." "Look, I appreciate the kindness, but—" Luna bent down to pick up the squeegee, stalling to gather her thoughts. "I don't need charity. It's not charity, it's fairness. It is charity." Luna stood up, holding the squeegee like a sword. The big rich CEO feels sorry for the poor lady cleaning windows and decides to play hero. "Luna, that's not what this is, isn't it?" She crossed her arms, pride louder than need. "You show up here, find me at my worst, and decide to save me? No thanks." Ethan sighed. "You are the most stubborn person I've ever met. And you're arrogant. You think you can fix other people's lives with a snap of your fingers." That's when a high-pitched voice cut through the argument. "Mom!" Luna turned and saw Leo running down the sidewalk, slipping away from the neighbor who was watching him. "Leo, what are you doing here? Aunt Martha said you were working here." Leo stopped in front of them, out of breath but excited. "Hi, wet dog hair man." Ethan laughed. "Hey, Leo, is my hair better today?" "Yeah, now it looks like real people hair." Leo looked from Luna to Ethan, then back again with that curious look only kids have. "Mister, are you my mom's boyfriend?" "Leo!" Luna turned bright red. "What? You were talking like people who date on TV." Ethan couldn't hold back a laugh, a real, genuine laugh he hadn't had in years. Luna, embarrassed, still felt something warm in her chest when she saw his smile. "No, Leo," Ethan said, still smiling. "I'm not your mom's boyfriend, but I am a friend." "Oh," Leo looked slightly disappointed. "You seem nice. Mom deserves a nice boyfriend." "Leo!" Luna wanted the ground to swallow her whole. "What, Mom? It's true. You're always sad when you're alone." Ethan looked at Luna with a softer expression. "Leo's right. You deserve good things. I don't need anyone telling me what I deserve." "Mom, why are you mad at the nice man?" Leo asked, confused. "I'm not mad, sweetheart." "Yes, you are. You're making that face you make when you don't want help." Ethan crouched down to Leo's level. "Your mom is proud. That's a good thing, but sometimes it can make things harder. Just like when she won't borrow money from Grandma." "Leo!" Luna was mortified. "Luna," Ethan stood up, looking her in the eye. "Let me make a different offer. I already said no. If you agree to come back, you can bring Leo anytime you need. We've set up a special area at the office just for him, with toys, books, everything a kid might need." Leo's eyes widened. "Really? I can go to work with Mom?" "Yes," Ethan said. "And there's more. You'll get a raise, not out of pity, but because I found out you were being underpaid for the quality of work you did." Luna opened her mouth to argue, but Ethan continued. "And if you still think it's charity, you can work part-time as a customer relations consultant. Several clients asked about you over the past 2 days." "They asked about me?" "They did. Seems you had a special gift for handling difficult people." Luna looked at Leo, who stared back at her with hopeful eyes. "Please, Mom? That way I can play while you work." "Leo, it's not that simple." "Mom," Leo held her hand with both of his small ones, "the man's being nice, and you said nice people deserve a chance." Ethan waited quietly, watching Luna wrestle between pride and necessity. She sighed. "I need to think about it." Of course, but Luna? Ethan took a card from his pocket. Don't think too long. The offer won't be there forever. Leo snatched the card before Luna could and read it aloud. Ethan Parker, CEO. Wow, Mom. He's the boss of the bosses. Yeah, Luna whispered, finally grasping the weight of what was happening. So? Ethan asked. Can I expect an answer by tomorrow? Luna looked at her oversized cleaning uniform, then at Leo's hopeful smile, and finally at Ethan, standing there patiently. Maybe, just maybe. It was time to set her pride aside. By tomorrow, she agreed. And for the first time in 2 days, she felt a spark of hope. Luna ran her hand through her hair for the 10th time in 5 minutes as she waited for the elevator at Parker Corporation. It was her first morning back, and nerves were getting the best of her. She held Leo's hand, who swung his brand new backpack filled with toys and coloring books. Mom, are you nervous? Leo asked, his big curious eyes watching her. A little, sweetheart. Why? The nice man said we can work together. The nice man. That's how Leo had referred to Ethan since yesterday. Luna couldn't stop thinking about that conversation outside the cafe, the way Ethan had laughed at Leo's unfiltered questions, the space he'd made just for her son. The elevator doors opened on the 12th floor. Luna took a deep breath. Ready? She asked Leo. Ready, he excited. The first thing Luna noticed was that Ashley wasn't at the front desk. Instead, Margaret, Ethan's executive assistant, was waiting with a warm smile. Luna, so glad to have you back. Margaret reached out her hand. I'm Margaret, Mr. Parker's assistant. He asked me to show you the changes we made. Changes? Margaret pointed to a glass door next to the reception area. Inside, Luna saw a cozy corner with a colorful rug, a small bookshelf, a low table with crayons and paper, and even a few toys. Mr. Parker had it set up last night. It's Leo's space. Leo's eyes lit up like stars. Really? All this is for me? Just for you, Margaret confirmed. There's even a special snack in the mini fridge. Leo ran off to explore his new little world while Margaret walked Luna through the updates at reception. New computer, upgraded phone, and look, she pointed to a golden nameplate on the desk. Luna Parker, Client Services Coordinator. Coordinator? Luna's eyes widened. Immediate promotion. Mr. Parker's orders. At that moment, Ethan himself appeared in the hallway, walking toward the front desk with a folder in hand and a friendly smile. Good morning, Luna. How are you feeling? Good. Thank you for all of this. She gestured toward the updated space. T.O. Ethan. Leo ran from his new corner and threw his arms around Ethan's legs. Hey, champ. Ethan crouched down. Do you like your new spot? I love it. There's even Batman. Leo held up a little action figure he'd found. Luna watched the scene with her heart full. Seeing Ethan treat Leo with such warmth moved her more than she expected. Ethan? She began. Just call me Ethan. We're all part of the same team here. By mid-morning, Luna had already settled into her new routine. The work was mostly the same, answering phones, welcoming clients, organizing schedules, but now with a fancy new title and a 40% pay raise. What she didn't expect was how often Ethan showed up at the front desk. 10 a.m. Luna, just checking if the reports arrived. They were emailed directly to him. 11:30. Just came to grab a water. He had a fridge in his office. 1 p.m. Wanted to make sure everything's going smoothly. It clearly was. Margaret, Luna whispered as the assistant walked by the front. Is it normal for Mr. Parker to come down here this often? Margaret gave her a knowing smile. Honey, I've worked with Ethan Parker for 15 years. I've never seen him come down to this floor so many times. You must have some kind of magic. Meanwhile, Leo was becoming the star of the office. In just 2 hours, he was already friends with at least 10 employees. Aunt Sandra? He waved to the woman from HR. Want to see my Batman drawing? Of course, sweetie. Mr. Roberto. He called out to the accountant walking by. You look like a penguin in that suit. Instead of being offended, Roberto laughed so hard he nearly dropped his papers. That kid is a delight, one employee told her colleague. He brightened up the whole place. Around 3 p.m., Leo had grown tired of coloring and decided to explore the hallway. Luna was busy with a client when she heard a familiar little voice. Uncle Ethan! Uncle Ethan! She turned and saw Leo running down the hall toward Ethan, who was carrying a stack of documents. Hey, Leo, what's up? Let's play superheroes. Right now, I'm kind of busy. Please, just for a bit, you can be Batman and I'll be Robin. Ethan looked around. The hallway was empty. Luna was far away. Why not? All right, but just for a minute. Yes, Leo jumped with joy. Now you have to crouch down and pretend you're flying. Flying? Yeah, Batman flies. Come on, crouch and stretch out your arms. Ethan, the millionaire CEO who ran a company of 200 people, crouched down in the hallway and stretched his arms out like he was flying. Like this? Perfect. Now make the sound vroom. Vroom, Ethan mumbled, feeling silly but also kind of amused. Louder, Batman's not shy. Vroom, Ethan shouted, running crouched down the hallway after Leo. Right at that moment, the elevator doors opened and out stepped 3 men in suits. The Japanese investors, scheduled for a meeting at 3:15. Ethan froze. There he was, the CEO of a multi-million-dollar company, running hunched over in the hallway, making airplane noises. Behavioral. Mr. Parker? One of the investors asked in English, clearly confused. Leo, completely unaware of the awkwardness, waved happily. Hi, Uncle Ethan was being Batman with me. You want to play too? The silence that followed was deafening. Ethan slowly stood up, his face red as a tomato, trying to recover a bit of dignity. Gentlemen, I was just... One of the investors, the oldest one, started to smile. Then he laughed. Within seconds, all 3 were laughing out loud. Mr. Parker, the older man said in slow English, in 40 years of business, I've never seen a CEO so human. It's fun working in a company where the boss plays Batman, said another. Shows you care about family and joy. That's rare in business. Ethan blinked, surprised by their positive reaction. Leo, he crouched down again, speaking to the boy. These are the uncles from Japan. They came to talk about work. Cool, Leo waved. Bye, uncles from Japan. Batman has to go back to the Batcave. After the investors went into the meeting room, still laughing, Ethan walked back to reception, where Luna was waiting with an amused look on her face. So, did Batman have an interesting meeting? You saw that? Ethan ran a hand through his hair, embarrassed. I did, and I filmed it. Luna held up her phone, smiling mischievously. You didn't. I did. Want to see? Ethan tried to grab the phone, but Luna was quicker, running to the other side of the desk. Luna, delete that. Never. It's too cute seeing the big CEO playing superhero. I was just being nice to your son. You were being adorable. They stared at each other for a moment, Luna holding the phone, Ethan trying to look stern, but both were smiling. You know, Luna said softly, Leo's never had a male figure to play like that with. Thank you. Ethan's expression softened. He's a special kid. He is. And you're special for seeing that. The moment was cut short by Leo popping up between them. Mom, Uncle Ethan, you're looking at each other like people in love on TV again. Luna and Ethan quickly stepped apart, faces flushed. Leo. Luna sighed. What? It's true. Leo shrugged and went back to his little corner. Ethan cleared his throat. Well, I need to head to my meeting. Of course. But before walking away, he turned back. Luna? Yes? Thanks for letting me play Batman. It's been a long time since I've felt this light. And with that, he left, leaving Luna with a smile on her face and a strange feeling in her chest. A feeling that had everything to do with the way they'd been looking at each other lately. The next morning, Luna arrived at the office with Leo bouncing excitedly beside her. The little boy had already settled into the new routine and treated his little corner like it was his personal kingdom. Mom, today I'm going to draw a castle for Uncle Ethan, Leo announced as he ran to his spot. That's nice, sweetheart. Luna settled in at the front desk, turned on the computer, and started checking the morning emails. Everything was normal, nothing unusual until... Good morning, Luna. She looked up and saw Ethan standing in front of the desk, holding a brown paper bag. Good morning, Ethan. Is something wrong? No, it's just that. He held up the bag. I picked up some cookies on my way to work. Got a few too many by mistake. Thought maybe Leo likes cookies. Luna looked at him with a curious expression. You bought cookies by mistake? Yeah, totally by accident. The lady at the bakery convinced me to get more than I meant to. Ethan placed the bag on the desk, clearly a little nervous. They're chocolate. Kids like chocolate, right? Cookies. Leo shot over like a rocket, drawn by the magic word. Hey, champ. Want to try one? Ethan opened the bag. Can I, Mom? You can, but just one for now. You can have another after lunch. Leo grabbed a cookie and took a bite, making a face of pure delight. This is so good. Thanks, Uncle Ethan. You're welcome. Ethan smiled, pleased. Well, I've got a meeting in 5 minutes. He started to walk away, but Luna called after him. Ethan? Yes? Thanks for the random cookies. Ethan gave a slightly embarrassed smile and disappeared into the elevator. The next day, it happened again. This time, Ethan showed up holding 2 cups of coffee. Luna, do you drink coffee? I do. Why? Well, I ordered a coffee downstairs, and the guy gave me 2. Said it was his mistake, but he didn't charge me for the second one. Ethan held out one of the cups. Thought you might want it. Luna took the coffee and had a sip. It was exactly how she liked it, not too strong, with a touch of brown sugar. It's perfect. How did you know I like it this way? Lucky guess, Ethan answered a little too quickly. Pure coincidence. Sure, coincidence. Luna took another sip, hiding a smile. Uncle Ethan, Leo appeared with a drawing in hand. Look what I made for you. It was a drawing of a tall man in a suit standing next to a woman and a small child. They were all smiling under a big yellow sun. Who are these people? Ethan asked, genuinely curious. It's you, Mom, and me. Leo pointed to each figure. We're a family. The silence that followed was almost heavy. Luna felt her face get warm, and Ethan choked slightly on his coffee. Leo, sweetie, Luna began. What? You're together all the time. Uncle Ethan takes care of us, brings food, just like a family. Yeah, it's a beautiful drawing, Leo, Ethan managed to say, still a bit stunned. Can I keep it? Sure, I'll make another one for Mom. Leo ran back to his little space, leaving Luna and Ethan in an awkward silence. He's very imaginative, Luna murmured. He is, very. Ethan carefully folded the drawing. Well, meeting's waiting. Of course. But he didn't leave right away. He stood there, looking at Luna like he wanted to say something. Ethan, is everything all right? It is. It's just that, he hesitated. Are you happy here? I mean, working here? I am. Why do you ask? Just wanted to be sure, after everything that happened. Ethan, you saved my life. Leo and I are doing really well here. They looked at each other for a few seconds until Ethan cleared his throat. Great, that's good to hear. And this time, he really did leave. On Thursday, it was lunch. Luna, have you had lunch yet? Ethan appeared with a bag from a Japanese restaurant. Not yet. I ordered Japanese food, but they gave me way more than I could eat. Want to share? Luna looked at him with an amused expression. Let me guess. The restaurant made a mistake? Exactly. They mixed up the order. Ethan avoided her eyes. There's sushi, yakisoba, tempura. Sushi! Leo shouted from his little corner. I love sushi. You don't even know what sushi is, Luna laughed. Yes, I do. It's that fish Grandma buys at the Japanese store. Ethan crouched down to explain. Sushi is raw fish, Leo. You sure you want to try it? Raw fish? Leo made a face. Yuck. I'd rather have the yakisoba. Yakisoba is noodles. You'll like it. Ethan opened the containers on the reception desk. We can't eat here, Luna protested. What if a client shows up? Margaret can cover for a few minutes. She loved the idea of you two having a proper lunch. They sat around the desk, eating with plastic chopsticks. Leo was trying to grab noodles and making a hilarious mess, while Luna and Ethan laughed at his efforts. Like this, Leo. Ethan showed him how to hold the chopsticks. See? It's like picking up food with 2 little sticks. Why don't Japanese people use forks like normal people? Leo asked, genuinely puzzled. It's tradition, Ethan explained patiently. Each country has its own customs. Like how Brazil has brigadeiro and the US has cookies. Exactly. Luna watched them, feeling a warm sensation grow in her chest. Seeing Ethan be so patient with Leo, explaining things in a simple way, laughing at silly questions. What are you thinking about? Ethan asked, noticing she'd stopped eating. Oh, nothing, Luna answered too quickly and went back to her food. Mom makes that face when she's happy, Leo said casually. It's the same face she makes when she watches romantic movies. Leo! Luna nearly choked on her yakisoba. What? It's true. You get all smiley and your eyes get shiny. Ethan looked at Luna, who was now red as a beet. Shiny eyes? He asked, amused. Leo has a big imagination, Luna murmured. No, I don't. Look, you're doing it again. Leo pointed at his mom. Ethan looked at Luna for a moment. Her eyes really did have a special shine. Her hair fell naturally over her shoulder, and when she smiled like that, Ethan? Luna noticed him staring. I was thinking about the afternoon meeting. What meeting? Luna asked. The meeting, Ethan stammered, with important people. Uncle Ethan, did you forget the name of your meeting? Leo asked innocently. Yes, I forgot. Ethan stood up quickly. Anyway, I need to get ready. Thanks for lunch. But you brought the food, Luna pointed out. Oh right, thanks for sharing. And he left in a hurry, leaving Luna confused and Leo pondering. Mom, Uncle Ethan is kind of clumsy, huh? A little, sweetheart. But he's nice and he likes us. How do you know that? Because he makes the same face you do when he's around us, a happy face. Luna looked in the direction Ethan had gone, thinking about her son's words. A happy face. On Friday, Ethan showed up with hot chocolate. To help you warm up? The air conditioning is a little too strong today. On Saturday, when they worked a half day, he brought sandwiches left over from a meeting. On Sunday, even though it wasn't a work day, he showed up at the office with some excuse about forgotten documents, and ended up spending the entire afternoon playing with Leo, while Luna organized files. Ethan, Luna said as they were leaving, can I ask you something? Of course. Why are you doing all this? Doing what? The cookies, the coffee, the lunches, the hot chocolate, she listed on her fingers. Well, it's just... Ethan ran a hand through his hair, nervous. It's important to keep employees well fed. Productivity, you know? Productivity, exactly. And the other employees? Do you bring them coffee too? The others, Ethan hesitated. The others don't work this closely with me. I see. They stood in front of the elevator, both pretending not to notice what was going on between them. Luna? Yes? Do you like breakfast? I do. Because tomorrow I might stop by a new bakery and maybe they'll have really good croissants and maybe I'll accidentally buy too many. Luna smiled. Ethan? Yes. You're not very good at pretending it's a coincidence. I'm not? No. But she stepped into the elevator with Leo. I do like croissants. The doors closed, but not before Luna saw Ethan smile in a way she'd never seen before. A way that made her heart race and confirmed what she had already started to suspect. Something was changing between them. Ashley Morrison watched from the window of her new office on the 11th floor as Ethan chatted with Luna down at the reception desk. Her perfectly manicured red nails dug into her palms every time he smiled at that. That former employee. 3 weeks. It had been 3 weeks since Luna came back, and Ashley had seen Ethan go down to the 12th floor more times in one day than he used to in a whole month. This can't go on, she muttered to herself, adjusting her tight bun. After her disastrous meeting with Ethan, Ashley had been promoted to records supervisor. Basically, a fancy exile. She knew Ethan wanted her gone but couldn't fire her without just cause. Not yet, but if she could prove Luna was incompetent. A cruel smile spread across Ashley's lips when she saw the perfect opportunity. On her desk was the monthly client report, the one she had altered the night before, changing some numbers to make it look like Luna had made serious mistakes in customer service. Showtime, she whispered, picking up the papers and heading to the elevator. Luna was helping Leo organize his colored pencils when Ashley appeared at the reception like a storm of high heels and strong perfume. Luna Parker. Her voice cut through the air like a knife. Ashley? Luna stood up, surprised. What are you doing here? I came to fix a serious problem. Ashley slammed the papers on the desk. You made a terrible mess of the client reports. What do you mean? Look at this. Ashley pointed at the numbers. 3 important clients complained about poor service. 2 canceled contracts because of your incompetence. Luna took the papers, confused. Ashley, this doesn't make sense. I didn't serve those clients. And these numbers. Are you doubting my work? Ashley raised her voice on purpose, making other employees stop and watch. Typical. Always blaming others for your mistakes. I'm not blaming anyone. I'm just saying that. Silence, Ashley shouted. You're nothing but an incompetent who only came back because Mr. Parker felt sorry for you. That's when Leo, who had been quietly in his corner, lifted his head with a confused look. Aunt Ashley? He called, with the innocence typical of a child. What do you want, little pest? Why are you lying about Mommy? Ashley froze. I'm not lying. You are. Leo stood up, holding a colored pencil. Yesterday I saw you messing with those papers on your desk. You didn't see anything. I did. Leo insisted, completely unfiltered. You were changing the numbers with a pen, like when I erase a drawing to make a new one. A murmur spread among the employees watching the scene. Leo, dear, Luna tried to intervene. No, Mommy, she's being mean again. Leo pointed at Ashley. And she also said bad words when she thought no one was listening. I did not say bad words. Ashley yelled, completely losing control. Yes, you did. You said Mommy was a… Leo paused, trying to remember the exact word. An ugly word that starts with V. More murmurs. Phones discreetly came out to record the situation. And you also said you would make up lies so Uncle Ethan wouldn't like Mommy anymore. Ashley's blood ran cold. How had that terrible child heard everything? That's a lie. This boy is making up stories. I'm not. Leo crossed his arms. You also said Uncle Ethan was what was it? Oh yeah, a foolish lover. The silence that followed was deadly. All the employees looked at Ashley with a mix of shock and barely hidden amusement. Ashley stammered, desperate. That's when Ethan's voice cut the silence. Ashley, my office, now. Everyone turned. Ethan was standing near the elevator with an expression Luna had never seen before. He was furious. Ethan, good you're here. Ashley tried to recover her composure. I was just explaining to Luna the serious mistakes she made. I heard everything. Ethan walked toward the group. And apparently, my honorary nephew here has an excellent memory. He crouched down to Leo's level. Is what you said true, champ? Yes, Uncle Ethan. I don't like lies. Mommy always says lying is bad. Ethan stood up and looked directly at Ashley. So you altered reports to frame an exemplary employee? I know. It's just… And you called Leo a pest? Ethan's voice dropped dangerously. A 5-year-old child. Ethan, let me explain. No. Enough. Ethan turned to the employees watching. Everyone here can confirm that Ashley Morrison just admitted to falsifying official company documents? Several nodded. Perfect. Ethan looked back at Ashley. You're fired. For cause. Security, please escort Miss Morrison out of the building. You can't do this, Ashley exploded. I can, and I am. Forging documents is a crime, Ashley. You should be thankful I'm not calling the police. 2 security guards appeared quickly. Wait, Ashley shouted as she was escorted out. This is harassment. Favoritism? He's only protecting her because he's in love. Ethan stopped and slowly turned around. You know what, Ashley? You're right. I am protecting Luna. And you know why? He looked around at all the employees. Because she is an honest person, dedicated, and a fantastic mother. Because she treats everyone with respect, even when she doesn't get the same respect back. Luna felt her face flush as everyone looked at her. And if that's favoritism, Ethan continued, then I fully own it. Some people deserve to be favored. Some people deserve to be protected. And some people, he looked straight at Luna, deserve to be appreciated. Ashley was escorted out, shouting nonsense about injustice and favoritism. When the commotion died down and the employees returned to work, Leo tugged on Ethan's pants. Uncle Ethan? Yes, champ? You really like Mommy, don't you? Ethan looked at Luna, who was red as a tomato, then back at Leo. I think so, Leo, a lot. That's great. Leo smiled. Because she likes you too. She gets all silly when you show up. Leo. Luna practically shouted. What's wrong, Mommy? It's true. Ethan laughed, and for the first time in weeks, Luna realized maybe it wasn't possible to pretend nothing was happening between them. Especially when he defended her in front of everyone. Especially when he said she deserved to be appreciated. And especially when Leo decided to be the most honest matchmaker in the world. A week had passed since the Ashley incident, as the employees of Parker Corporation started calling it. The office atmosphere was lighter, people smiled more, and Luna was finally able to work without looking over her shoulder for traps. That Friday, Ethan showed up at reception with an unusual proposal. Luna, how about we all have lunch together today? In the small meeting room? All together? Me, you, Leo, and whoever else wants to join. Kind of an informal get-together. Luna looked around. Margaret had already heard and waved excitedly. I'll bring dessert, the secretary offered. And I'll bring soda, added Sandra from HR. Party, Leo shouted from his corner, making everyone laugh. An hour later, the small meeting room was transformed. Margaret had brought colorful napkins, Sandra filled the table with sodas and juices, and Ethan arrived with way too much pizza. How many did you order? Luna asked, seeing the stacked boxes. About 5 pizzas. 5? There are 7 of us. I didn't know which ones you liked. Ethan scratched his head, embarrassed. Uncle Ethan bought enough pizza for an army. Leo commented, already attacking a slice of pepperoni. The table was lively. Roberto, the accountant, told bad jokes that still made everyone laugh. Margaret showed pictures of her grandchildren to Sandra. And Ethan, well, Ethan couldn't stop looking at Luna. Mommy, why aren't you eating? Leo asked, noticing Luna just nibbling on the pizza. I'm eating, sweetheart. No, you're not. You just keep looking at Uncle Ethan and smiling silly. Luna's fork froze in midair. Leo, what? It's true. Leo turned to Ethan. Uncle Ethan, you also look at Mommy and get all red. Roberto nearly choked on his soda. Margaret and Sandra exchanged knowing looks. Leo, eat your pizza, Luna murmured, her face burning. But I'm just telling the truth, Leo insisted. Grandma always says we should tell the truth. Some truths can wait, dear, Ethan said gently, though he was also blushing. Why? Leo asked with that typical childlike curiosity. Are you ashamed to like each other? Total silence filled the room. Even Roberto stopped chewing. Leo? Luna started. No, Mommy, I want to know. Leo stood on his chair, looking seriously at Ethan. Uncle Ethan, you like my mommy, right? Ethan looked around the table. All eyes were on him. Margaret smiled like she was watching a romantic movie. Sandra was practically holding her breath. Roberto pretended he was very interested in his pizza. Leo, that's complicated, Ethan tried. Why is it complicated? Leo crossed his arms. Either you like her or you don't. It's simple. It's not exactly like that, champ. It is. Leo slapped the table. Like when I like ice cream, I don't make excuses. I say I like ice cream. That's it. Luna was mortified. Leo, Uncle Ethan doesn't have to answer. Yes, he does. Leo turned to her. And you too, Mommy. You guys look at each other all day, bring food for each other, play with me together. If it's not dating, then what is it? Margaret let out a soft laugh. Sandra was clearly trying not to smile. It's friendship, dear. Luna explained patiently. Friendship? Leo made a face. Aunt Margaret is your friend, and you don't look at each other like people in love. People in love? Luna almost shouted. Yes, like in the movies Grandma watches. The man looks at the woman gets all silly, then they kiss and live happily ever after. Roberto finally couldn't hold back and burst out laughing. Margaret was quietly clapping her hands. Leo, Ethan said in a more serious voice. Yes, Uncle Ethan? Do you really want an answer? I do. Ethan looked at Luna, who was red as a pepper, then back to Leo. All right, I'll answer. Ethan, no, Luna protested. No, Luna, Leo has the right to know. Ethan took a deep breath. Leo, you asked me if I like your mommy, right? I did. So, Ethan looked straight into Luna's eyes. I think I do, Leo. A lot. The silence that followed was so deep you could hear the air conditioner running. Luna's eyes went wide. Margaret put her hand on her chest. Sandra sighed like a teenager. Roberto muttered a quiet finally. I knew it, Leo shouted, jumping in his chair. I knew you liked each other. Leo, lower your voice, Luna whispered, unable to take her eyes off Ethan. Why? Everyone already knew. Leo looked around the table. You all knew, right? Obviously, Margaret said. Of course, Sandra confirmed. Even I, whom terrible with this stuff, noticed, Roberto added. See? Leo turned to Ethan. Now you have to ask if Mommy likes you too. Leo, Luna was mortified. What? It's fair. You answered. Now it's your turn. Ethan leaned forward with a nervous smile. So, Luna? Do you like me? Luna looked around the table. 5 pairs of eyes stared at her expectantly. There was no way to escape, no excuse to invent. She swallowed hard. Say it, Mom, Leo shouted. I like you, she whispered so quietly almost no one heard. Louder, Leo insisted. I like you, Ethan, Luna repeated, still red, but looking directly at him. A lot. Margaret started clapping. Sandra said, Oh, how sweet. Roberto raised his soda cup for a toast. Yay, Leo cheered. Now you can kiss and be real boyfriend and girlfriend. Leo, Luna, and Ethan yelled at the same time, making everyone laugh. What? That's how it works. You like each other, you kiss, you become boyfriend and girlfriend, get married, and have more babies for me to play with. More babies? Luna almost fainted. Calm down, champ, Ethan laughed. Let's take it slow. First, we talk more about this. Okay. Leo shrugged. But don't take too long, okay? I want a little brother before Christmas. The whole table burst into laughter. Luna hid her face in her hands, mortified but happy. Ethan looked at her with an expression she had never seen before. An expression of someone who just discovered that the impossible is possible. And that sometimes it takes a 5-year-old kid for 2 grown-ups to finally admit the obvious. Well, Margaret said, raising her cup, I think we have something to toast. To love, Sandra added. To the most honest Cupid in the world, Roberto pointed at Leo. To Uncle Ethan and Mommy, Leo shouted, raising his juice cup. For the first time, Luna and Ethan toasted looking directly at each other, without hiding, without pretending it was just friendship. Saturday morning dawned with a golden sun promising one of the last beautiful days before winter came to Seattle. Luna was in the kitchen making breakfast when the phone rang. "Hello? Hi, Luna. It's Ethan." Her heart skipped a little. Even after the public confession on Friday, it was still strange to hear his voice outside of work. "Hi, how are you?" "Great. Listen, today is a beautiful day, and I was thinking, do you guys want to go to Discovery Park with me? Maybe have a picnic?" Luna looked out the window. The sun was really inviting. "Leo," she called, "do you want to go to the park with Uncle Ethan?" "Yes," came the immediate answer from the bedroom, followed by the sound of bare feet running down the hall. "Can we bring the frisbee?" "You can bring the frisbee," Ethan laughed on the other end. "I'll bring the food." "Are you sure? I can make sandwiches." "Leave it to me. I know a place that makes amazing picnic baskets." An hour later, Ethan parked in front of Luna's apartment, driving a dark blue SUV. Leo ran out to greet him even before Luna finished locking the door. Uncle Ethan, I brought the frisbee and the ball." Leo showed the toys like they were treasures. "Perfect champ." Ethan ruffled the boy's hair. "Hi, Luna." "Hi." They looked at each other for a moment. That kind of look from people still getting used to the new situation between them. "You look beautiful," Ethan said softly. Luna had chosen a simple floral dress and a beige cardigan. Nothing too fancy, but she had taken special care. "Thank you." She looked at him, casually dressed in jeans and a light blue shirt. "Different. Not in a suit. Better or worse? Different in a good way," she smiled. "Hey!" Leo appeared between them. "Are you going to keep staring at each other all day, or are we going to the park?" Discovery Park was perfect. Families spread out on the grass, kids running, dogs playing, and a stunning view of the bay. Ethan had really gone all out. The picnic basket was full of gourmet sandwiches, fresh fruit, natural juices, and even decorated cupcakes. "You went overboard," Luna said, admiring the food laid out on the checkered blanket. "I wanted it to be special." "It is special," she assured him. Leo, of course, was more interested in playing than eating. "Let's play frisbee," he announced, already running across the lawn. "Hey, eat something first," Luna shouted. "Later, Mom. Now it's playtime." Ethan stood up, holding out his hand to Luna. "Shall we?" "He's right. It's time to play." The next 40 minutes were a mix of laughter, joyful shouts, and healthy competition. Leo was surprisingly good with the frisbee, though his throws were completely unpredictable. "To Mom," he shouted, throwing the disc the wrong way. Luna ran after the frisbee, stumbled on a small hill in the grass, and fell sitting down, laughing. "Are you okay?" Ethan ran over to help her. "I'm fine." Luna laughed so hard she could barely speak. "I just hurt my pride." Ethan reached out to help her up, but instead sat down next to her on the grass. "The view from down here is interesting." "It is," Luna agreed, still laughing. "Very low." Leo came running back. "Mom, you fell." "I did, dear, but I'm okay. Is Uncle Ethan going to take care of you?" "I will," Ethan answered, looking at Luna with a gentle smile. "Good." Leo threw himself down on the grass between them. "Now let's make grass angels." "Grass angels?" Ethan asked. "It's like snow angels, just without snow." Leo lay down and started moving his arms and legs. "Come on." Luna and Ethan looked at each other and, after a moment's hesitation, lay down on the grass too, making imaginary angels while Leo laughed wildly. "You guys look like big kids," Leo said. "Sometimes it's good to be a big kid," Ethan said, looking at the blue sky. After the grass angels, they returned to the picnic blanket. Leo attacked the cupcakes like a lion, while Luna and Ethan talked about everything and nothing. "Can I ask you something?" Luna said, peeling an orange. "Of course. Why have you never married or dated seriously?" Ethan thought for a moment. "I guess I never met the right person. I always focused a lot on work, and the women I met, well, they seemed more interested in my money than in me. And now, he looked directly at her. Now I've found someone who met me without knowing who I was. Someone who treated me like a regular person under a food truck awning." Luna felt her face warm. "Ethan, and there's more," he continued. "I found someone who comes with an amazing little boy who taught me how to play Batman in the hallway." Leo, focused on his cupcake, looked up. "Are you talking about me?" "We're talking about how special you are," Luna answered. "I know." Leo shrugged and went back to his cupcake. Ethan and Luna laughed. It was impossible not to melt over his simplicity. The sun started to tilt in the sky, casting a golden light that made everything even more beautiful. Leo was tired of eating, and now lay on the blanket, fighting sleep. "Looks like someone will need a nap when we get home," Luna said, running her hand through her son's hair. "It was a perfect day," Ethan said softly. "It really was." They sat side by side, watching Leo almost dozing off when Ethan turned to Luna. "Can I tell you something?" "Sure." "I was scared." "Of what?" "Of messing everything up. Of not knowing how to be this." He gestured between them. "It's been a long time since I allowed myself to feel something like this. And now?" "Now." Ethan moved closer slowly. "Now I don't want to run away anymore." Luna felt her heart race as she realized he was getting closer. Their faces were just inches apart when... "Ew," Leo shouted, making them jump apart immediately. "You're kissing like in adult movies." "Leo," Luna blushed. "We weren't." "Yes, you were. I saw it." Leo sat up, fully aware now. "You were making those faces people make right before kissing." Ethan burst out laughing. "He's right. We were." "So what?" Leo asked. "Why did you stop?" "Because..." Luna stammered. "Because it's awkward with you watching," Ethan finished honestly. Leo raised his hands to cover his eyes. "There. Now I can't see anything." "Leo," Luna laughed. "Come on, Mommy, kiss Uncle Ethan. I promise I won't look." Ethan looked at Luna, who was laughing and shaking her head. "He's not giving up," Ethan murmured. "Not at all," Luna agreed. "So..." Ethan moved closer again. "So," Luna whispered. And finally, there on the grass at Discovery Park, with Leo not looking but obviously peeking through his fingers, Luna and Ethan kissed. It was a soft, sweet kiss, full of promises and possibilities. When they pulled apart, Leo was clapping. "I knew you two would get together," he shouted, jumping on the blanket. "I thought you weren't looking," Luna said, still dizzy from the kiss. "I peeked," Leo admitted, laughing. "It was beautiful. Now you're real boyfriend and girlfriend." Ethan took Luna's hand, fingers entwined. "I think so," he said, looking at her. "I think so," Luna agreed. And there, in the middle of the park, with Leo celebrating like it was New Year's, something new officially began. A few days later, the Parker Corporation's event hall had been transformed. Golden lights hung from the ceiling, elegant tables decorated the room, and a small orchestra played soft music in the corner. It was the company's annual party, a gathering of employees, partners, and investors to celebrate another year of success. Luna adjusted the navy blue dress she had bought especially for the occasion. It was her first time attending a company social event, and she was nervous. "Mommy, you look beautiful," Leo said, perfect in his little suit Ethan had insisted on buying for him. "Thank you, sweetheart. You look very sharp, too." Leo had been officially invited to the party. "He's part of the team," Ethan had said when Luna protested it wasn't appropriate to bring a child to a corporate event. "Uncle Ethan," Leo waved when he saw Ethan approaching, looking stunning in a black tuxedo. "Hi, champ." Ethan bent down to greet Leo before turning to Luna. "You look, wow." "Thanks." Luna smiled, feeling that flutter in her stomach that had become constant in the 2 weeks since they officially started dating. "Mommy, can I go check out the dessert table?" Leo asked, already eyeing the impressive sweets on the other side of the room. "You can, but don't overdo it," Luna called as he ran off. "He's going to be the star of the party," Ethan commented, watching Leo enthusiastically greet every employee he passed. "He loves being the center of attention. I guess he gets that from someone." Ethan winked at her. The party was in full swing when Margaret appeared beside them. "Luna, you're glowing." "And Ethan." She looked between them with that knowing smile she'd had since they went public. "You make a beautiful couple." "Thank you, Margaret." Luna smiled, still getting used to people talking about her and Ethan as a couple. "By the way," Margaret turned to Ethan, "it's time for your speech." "What speech?" Luna asked, curious. "Every year I give a thank you speech," Ethan explained. "Nothing big. Nothing big." Margaret laughed. "Last year you spoke for 5 minutes and almost everyone fell asleep. Thanks for the vote of confidence, Margaret." A few minutes later, the lights dimmed and someone tapped the microphone on the small stage in the center of the room. "Ladies and gentlemen, our CEO, Ethan Parker." Applause filled the hall as Ethan took the stage. Luna watched from the crowd, proud, while Leo had managed to get a front row seat between Sandra from HR and Roberto from accounting. "Good evening, everyone." Ethan began, his voice echoing through the room. Every year I come up here to talk about numbers, goals, growth, murmurs of agreement from the audience. But this year, Ethan paused, his eyes finding Luna's. This year I want to talk about something different, about people, about family, about second chances. Luna felt her heart race. There was something different in his tone. You know, I built this company from scratch. What you may not know is that I was raised by a single mother. A respectful silence took over the room. My mother worked 2 jobs to support us. I remember seeing her come home exhausted, but always with a smile for me. She taught me that dignity isn't about money, but about character. Luna felt tears welling up. Ethan had never told her this part of his story before. A few months ago, I witnessed something that brought back these memories. One of our employees was fired for bringing her son to work when the babysitter didn't show up. Murmurs spread across the room. People looked around, trying to understand where Ethan was going with this. At first, I didn't know about the situation, but when I found out, Ethan paused again. When I found out, I saw my mother in that woman. I saw courage, determination, unconditional love for a child. Leo, in the front row, was paying attention like an adult, even if he didn't fully understand what was being said. This woman could have skipped work. She could have made excuses. But she came to work because she was responsible. Because she needed to support her family. Luna felt tears running down her face. Several people in the room started turning to look at her, putting the pieces together. Luna Parker. Ethan said her name clearly into the microphone. You taught me that leadership is not about power. It's about protection. It's about lifting people up, not tearing them down. The applause started slowly but grew louder. Luna was too emotional to respond. And Leo Parker. Ethan smiled at the little boy in the front row. You taught me that honesty and joy are the most important qualities a person can have. Leo waved happily at the stage, making the crowd laugh. So, today I want to announce some changes in our company. Luna held her breath. First, Luna Parker is being promoted to administrative coordinator with all the benefits and responsibilities the position requires. The applause exploded. Margaret shouted, "Finally!" Loud enough for everyone to hear. Second, Ethan continued, raising his voice over the applause. Parker Corporation is setting up a scholarship fund for employees' children, and the first recipient will be Leo Parker, with a full scholarship from elementary school through college. This time, the entire room stood up in an ovation. Luna was openly sobbing, hands on her face, unable to believe what she was hearing. "Mom!" Leo shouted from the front row, running toward her. "Did you hear? I'm going to get a scholarship to study." Luna bent down to hug her son, both laughing and crying at the same time. Finally, Ethan's voice cut through the celebration. "I want everyone to know that Luna and Leo are not just an employee and dependent of this company. They are my family." The silence that followed was full of emotion. Then, as if on cue, the whole room burst into applause, cheers, and whistles. Ethan stepped down from the stage and went straight to Luna, who was still hugging Leo. You really did this?" she asked through tears. "I did, and I'd do it 1,000 times more." "Uncle Ethan," Leo threw himself into his arms. "Does this mean we're really family now?" "It sure does, champ. Real family." Luna looked around the room, employees smiling, some crying with emotion, all applauding. Margaret was sobbing on Sandra's shoulder. Roberto was discreetly wiping his eyes. "I don't know what to say," Luna whispered. "You don't have to say anything," Ethan replied, kissing her forehead. "Just stay." "Forever?" Leo asked, still in Ethan's arms. "Forever," Ethan confirmed. And there, in the middle of the party, surrounded by people who were already almost like a second family, Luna understood that this was truly the most important moment of her life. Not just because of the promotion or Leo's scholarship, but because she had finally found where she belonged. Because she had finally found her home. 3 days after the company party, Ethan showed up at Luna's apartment with a mysterious proposal. "Wear something comfortable. We're going for a little ride." "Where to?" Luna asked, curious. Surprise! Leo was spending the weekend at his grandmother's house, so it was just Luna and Ethan. He drove for almost an hour until they reached Kubota Garden, a stunning Japanese garden on the outskirts of Seattle. "Ethan, what a beautiful place!" Luna exclaimed, looking at the wooden bridges over small ponds. the perfectly cared-for trees, and the flowers that created a fairy tale scene. I used to come here as a kid with my mom. It was our special place. They walked hand in hand along the winding paths, talking about everything and nothing. The afternoon sun created a play of light and shadows among the leaves, making everything even more magical. Luna, Ethan stopped on a small bridge over a pond where golden koi swam lazily. Yes, I need to tell you something. The serious tone in his voice made Luna turn fully to look at him. All my life, I thought family was something I would never really have. After my mother died, I convinced myself I was meant to be alone. Ethan, let me finish, he smiled nervously. Then a brave woman showed up with an amazing little boy, and suddenly I understood what I'd been missing. Luna felt her heart race as Ethan knelt down on the bridge. Luna Parker, you and Leo are the family I always dreamed of having. You taught me how to laugh, to play, to love without fear. Tears were already running down Luna's face when Ethan took a small velvet box out of his pocket. Will you marry me? Will you build a real family with me? Yes, Luna answered before even seeing the ring. Yes, 1,000 times yes. Ethan stood up and kissed her right there on the bridge, while the koi swam below and the golden sun embraced them. 1 month later, the wedding was intimate and perfect. In the same garden where Ethan had proposed, under an arch of white flowers and green leaves, they exchanged vows in front of 50 loved ones. Leo was the cutest, proudest ring-bearer in the world, carrying the rings on a little blue pillow and shouting, "It's now!" When the pastor asked if anyone objected to the marriage, Margaret cried more than the bride herself. Sandra filmed everything. Roberto gave an emotional speech about true love and second chances. And when Ethan kissed Luna as husband and wife, Leo shouted, "Now we're official? We're a real family." Days later, Luna parked in front of Parker Corporation and smiled when she saw the scene that had become routine. Ethan waiting at the door with 2 cups of coffee, like it was the most natural thing in the world. "Good morning, Mrs. Parker," he said, handing her the coffee and kissing her softly. "Good morning, Mr. Parker." "Mom," Leo shouted from the back seat. "Hurry, you're going to be late for the kiss of the day." They laughed. Kiss of the day had become Leo's official term for their morning greeting. "Come here, little troublemaker." Ethan opened the car door for Leo to get out. "I'm not a troublemaker. I'm the coolest son in the world." "That's true," Luna agreed, hugging the 2 most important men in her life. Days later, Luna felt that familiar dizziness. "Ethan?" Luna called, finding him in the living room flipping through reports. "Yes, love? I need to tell you something." Something in her voice made Ethan drop the papers immediately. "Is everything okay?" "More than okay," Luna smiled, sitting beside him on the couch. "I'm pregnant." The silence that followed lasted exactly 3 seconds. Then Ethan picked her up and spun her around the room. "Really? Really? Really?" Luna laughed, dizzy with happiness and the spin. "Leo!" Ethan shouted. "Come here, we have news." Leo came running, still in his pajamas. "What? Did someone die?" "No one died," Luna laughed. "Someone is going to be born. You're going to be a big brother." Leo's eyes got wide, processing the news. "Is there a baby in Mommy's belly?" "Yes! Yay!" Leo started jumping around the room. "I'll teach them how to play Batman." At the first ultrasound, Luna and Leo got a surprise. "There are 2 girls," the doctor announced, smiling at the couple staring amazed at the screen. "Twins?" Ethan whispered, unbelieving. "Twins," the doctor confirmed. Leo, who insisted on coming to the appointment, looked confused at the screen. "Where are the babies?" "They're those little spots, dear," Luna explained, pointing at the screen. "Oh," Leo thought for a moment. "Can I name them?" "We can talk about that," Ethan laughed. "How about Batman and Robin?" "They're girls, Leo." "Then, Batgirl and Robina?" Months later, the birth was long but smooth. First came Sophia Parker. 3 minutes later, Isabella Parker arrived. Ethan held 1 daughter in each arm, crying without shame, while Luna watched from the bed, exhausted but glowing. "They are perfect," he whispered. Leo, who had spent the night in the waiting room with Margaret, finally got to meet his sisters. "They're so tiny," was his first comment. "All babies are small at first," Luna explained. "Can I teach them how to play Frisbee when they grow up a little? And how to play superheroes? Also, and how to press buttons on the phone?" "No way!" Ethan and Luna shouted at the same time. Luna looked at Ethan and the kids and said, "This is the family I always wanted, and you are the most wonderful dad and husband." Ethan, emotional, smiled and kissed her. What did you think of Luna and Ethan's story? Leave your opinion in the comments. Rate this story from 0 to 10. Subscribe to the channel and hit the bell to follow all our stories, and check out more exciting stories by clicking here on the end screen.